Hi everyone, this is Arsh Goyal. I hope you all are doing great. In this video, I have with me Sharma, currently the Director of Talent Acquisition at Hike. We have tried to touch all the points that you as a student would have from any recruiter, be it from shortlisting of resumes and talking about off-campus opportunities, tiers of colleges, how are colleges shortlisted. So each and everything has been discussed in detail in this particular video. Vibhor has a great experience in this particular field and has been in this tech ecosystem for last 12 years. He has worked with multiple companies, has worked with multiple universities for corporate mentor role, and he has been guiding students and is very passionate about campus as well as students in general coming into tech industry. So this is going to be a really interesting podcast, and not only this, you can get an exciting goodie hamper from Hike by participating in the giveaway that is there in this particular video. So what you need to do is this entire conversation, if you would listen, there are some questions that I have asked from Vibhor, but here is a chance for you to directly ask your questions from Vibhor. I'll leave the link to the Google form in the description below where you can put in your questions, your queries that you might have from Vibhor, and those questions should be unique and not what we have discussed in the video. So I'll be selecting and picking up top candidates who have given some amazing questions, and we can have a one-on-one conversation with Vibhor. You will be getting a chance to have a one-on-one conversation with Vibhor, and along with that you will be getting those goodie hampers. So this is going to be really very amazing and exciting for me as well. Without any further ado, let's get started. So starting this conversation with a brief introduction of Vibhor.
Hi guys, Arsh, thank you so much for having me here. It feels awesome.
So sir, basically this conversation is going to be around things that freshers should look forward to when it comes to hiring, some of the mistakes that they commit when it comes to hiring. Before that thing, like, I would want to understand from your perspective, if we talk about the current market and the scene of hiring. So what do you think is the most challenging thing when it comes to hiring, be it of freshers or be it lateral hiring?
Any sort of hiring is challenging, I would say. You are dealing with people. You are just assessing. And our interview loops and assessment criteria are designed that in couple of hours you have to say yes or no to a guy, which fundamentally is debatable. But yeah, that's the reality. And hiring in general is very, very challenging. We have seen insane amount of capital coming to the country in the form of VC funding, etc. A lot many startups are trying to scale up their operations. They are hiring left, right, center, and everyone wants to hire A plus people. It's like fight for the top of the pyramid. And yeah, I don't want to be partial, but I would definitely say that technology hiring is a bit challenging than non-tech hiring. But yeah, it can be a debatable statement. But yeah, it's very, very hard to find a great tech engineer, estate, or a tester, or any designer product. Like, I would say TPD talent, technology product design, what we say, it's very challenging. When it comes to yeah, you talk about lateral versus fresher. I personally do not see the talent market as lateral versus fresher, because I've seen cases wherein we have hired freshers and they generally end up doing work of a three years experience, 4 years experience. At Hike, we run this program called as 0 to 2. It's a signature program. Very well, great response we have received from the market about this, wherein we hire people from 0 to 2 years of experience. We have a fast track a program which designed for them, which starts from a boot camp of couple of weeks, and so on and so forth. Both the hirings are very difficult. It's when it comes to fresher hiring, the availability or the pool is very large, and then you have to be very mindful that you are picking the right folks for your company. And laterals, again, because these are high impact roles. So yeah, in general, it's very rather than challenging, I would say it's there is a lot of opportunity, there is a lot of adventure when it comes to hiring people, because when you hire right people, they'll build right products, they'll serve the customer in a right way. And yeah, that's how you see awesome and amazing products and companies getting built.
So seeing the current market, like, you might have seen the job market is very hot. You see a lot of startups, like every week we see a new startup becoming a unicorn, right? And they obviously required a lot of tech people, a lot of engineers, a lot of good people who can be the backbone of their product, right? So every company is fighting to get the best engineers. So in this thing, they might end up getting some of the good people who are working in so-called fan companies or some of the dream companies that people think of. So the scenario is a bit changing from quite like after COVID, the scenario has changed a lot, is what I have seen from my end. So I believe similar is the case that you are seeing at your place.
Yeah. So I would say, like, at least in my opinion, I do not distinguish talent coming from A pocket or B pocket, C pocket. But specifically, you talked about FANG companies. Let me tell you, we see a lot of talent applying to us, and a lot of great startups, from FANG companies. And yeah, it's like a cycle, right? It's like a cycle. If you are giving great opportunity to them, almost sort of equivalent compensation, great perks, great peers to learn from, great opportunity to grow within the company as well. So definitely anyone would prefer. And answering your question in one line, we have seen surge, like hell lot of people applying to us and all the startups from FANG companies. And yeah, definitely, if you talk about stock, stock prices of FANG company in the last couple of weeks or months, it answers your question automatically. It says, like, in a stock price, the all the information is compromised, and is there in that stock price. So good news and bad news, high impact news, whatever, you see in the stock market price. So
talking about the fresher hiring, like you might be seeing a lot of people applying in like very huge numbers for fresher hiring, or when it comes to campus hiring. So students are generally not aware, like they are just either getting their first internship or they're just getting their first job. So they just don't know how to apply or how to frame up their CV or frame up their resume or how to present them in front of the interviewer. So you might have seen a lot of people. What are the general mistakes that you think a student commits or somebody who is from campus commits while applying for different companies or jobs?
I literally appreciate that you are asking this question. I literally appreciate, and I think it makes a lot of sense on your channel specifically. I've seen your audience and people, the kind of great folks you have, a great audience. Definitely, I think this is something which needs to be addressed. The kind of attention colleges, tier 3, tier 4 colleges give to create a admission brochure, or prospects. The same sort of attention should be given to the candidates or students who are passing out from the placement, like from the placement office. And generally people, they don't know, like these kids, they don't know how to write a great resume, how to create a portfolio. So there are these things should be taken care of. And see, understand, it's logical. Like you have to select 200 CVs, 300 CVs from a pool campus or a pool of CVs coming via one particular portal. CV should stand out. It should tell exactly. And literally, people generally do not spend 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, reading the entire CV, etc. When it comes to fresher hiring, etc. In general, there is a science behind how you should read the CV and match, and internal algorithms of recruiters hiring, all those things. But nowadays, AI/ML tools also screen CVs, right? It's good and it's bad as well, right? Because it has a lot of thing to do, like whether you are writing a right CV or not. It's like that. So my suggestion or my submission would be, give a lot of weightage to the right to the right template, right information, right data, right thing. You can hide thing, right? When I say hide thing, right, if you if you have a compartment in last semester, you should not write it, right? You can hide it. That I'm not saying you should lie. You should be very, very honest, but you should be smart enough with your approach. And given the fact, or provided if you have done a lot of projects, a lot of live projects or summer internship, etc., it should be mentioned in a proper way. You should have some sort of recommendations.
So also, this is a very common question that I receive on different platforms, that sir, like somebody who is working into who is getting into service-based companies directly from college, and maybe you can say it is due to lack of awareness. The student is very hardworking, or somebody is having skills, but still he is stuck there. and getting a salary that is way lower than what the standard market salary is. So what would be your advice for somebody who is into a service based company, how they can get into a product based company? What should be the motivation behind getting into a product based companies with better perks, better life, better work life, and better compensation?
So better work life you will get in service based company only. If you want a better, so work life balance is in service based company, work life harmony is in product based company. But I believe all the companies are good, right? uh, uh, all the service based companies are good, but it's the right question, right? And because uh, it's also about, what you can do and how much you can do. And if you think that you can take up better and bigger responsibilities, you can use technology to create immediate uh, you know uh, impact on society, or you can help people in term with the use of technology, etc. So you should definitely uh, you know think of joining a product based company. And yeah, it's simple. Talent can come from anywhere. Definitely, if you are switching from product to product, it's a bit easy because you are aware of the culture, technology, scale, level, hierarchy. So that's there. But yeah, it's not only, there are two things related to it. One is the tech or a skill part. You have to practice competitive programming, understand, like, create a list of 10 companies you want to apply, understand their recruitment process, see what kind of employees they are having and where they have hired, or about their past background, etc. You can talk to them how to crack interviews, etc., understand the loops, the hiring interview schemas, etc. But at the end of the day, when it comes to technology, you should have great knowledge of data structure, you should know multi-threading, you should have great problem solving skills, you should be good at writing clean code, you should be good at competitive programming, etc. Your profile should stand out. And then definitely you will get a call from a product tech recruiter, and just go through the experience and practice. Even if you are getting rejected one or two three times, it's okay. Like, I think each and every company, they have a cool down period of 6 months, and after 6 months you can apply, and there are thousands of product companies also, right? So yeah, if you have right intent. So, and the second aspect is the culture aspect, right? When you work in a product company, at times you are supposed to work bit late. That you work bit late at in service companies also. But yeah, when I say bit late, it means it's not related to time only, but in terms of the commitment, in terms of the release. If there is a release, it, it's it's an important day, and you have to design your calendar, your personal schedule, etc. around it. There's a high level of responsibility, accountability. You can literally see what you are building. Your Kali screen is ultimately translating to some meaningful products, and people are happy. And when you see advertisements of all those companies on hoardings, or on internet, on your YouTube, or during your IPLs, or on TV, you feel so happy about it, that I've been coding for this thing, and this that. So definitely, I think this is the way. Yeah.
So like that's totally true. When somebody sees that the product he's working upon, let's say somebody's working on a particular feature in Amazon, so he gets
Yeah.
in to see if that is being actually used by his friends, his relatives. So that's kind of, you can say, a sense of motivation to work, sense of uh, belief that you are actually doing something that is productive for the man. So like nowadays people are becoming more and more aware. They are getting into LinkedIn. Like I have seen the growth on LinkedIn from past 2 years. People, like students generally, they were not using LinkedIn as a platform, but now I see a lot of students putting out content, getting to know different things out of LinkedIn as a platform. And you talked about different resume templates. So we have been talking a lot about resume templates, and so what can be the best resume template that they can use. Not the best, but something that like that's pleasing to eyes, or that you can say that is that should not be so fancy, but a generalized template. Like most of the IITs, if you talk about, or some of the premium colleges, they have their general template. in which every
Okay.
student will have to make their CV in that particular format. So maybe you can generalize, take an idea from those CVs, or how can you frame up your CV. So that would be really perfect. Thank you so much, sir. Next, coming up onto a very, very important question, like let's talk about tech in general. So we have seen very new technologies coming into picture, be it web3 or NFTs. Like everywhere we see these buzzwords, NFTs, web3, and so on. And like we have seen some of the companies coming up uh, with these technologies, or they're looking forward to people who should be knowing these skills. So people are generally like, from a student's perspective, I see these are he is not yet confirmed what to do, what not to do. He is in this notion that, like, let's see what happens. But what, according to you, you are coming from industry, so how these terms would be seen, let's say from now to 5 years, or how are the things going to change in the near future with these technologies?
I, I would say a lot of smart people have already started knowing about, learning about, or working in Web3 technologies. So it's just a phenomena, right? It's very obvious. Like we have seen Web 1, right, which was, people say it was read only, though it was more than read only. Then people have seen Web 2, which is still there, and then Web 3. Web 3 is decentralized. People are having, smart contracts. There are so what I mean to say, slowly, gradually, all the Web 2 companies will, adopt to Web 3 business models or technologies, etc. It's not like that Web 3 will, it's a notion, and from, and there is a day, and from this particular day all the companies will be Web 3. It's not like that. You have seen, like, nobody wants to work on PHP, and there are very less people, working in ASP.NET, etc.
True.
Like, I'm talking about young people, right? There are so many financial projects already running on, ASP.NET, etc. It's a great technology. But what I mean to say is, like, people who are passing out, they want to work on latest technologies like AI/ML, blockchain, these sort of thing, very forward-looking DevOps technologies, etc. So it has already started, um, and it's a right FOMO. And I've seen having kids having FOMO, right? Hey, how can I learn about blockchain? I've seen, colleges and universities trying to find out, collab with blockchain schools or institutions,
Yeah.
etc., so that they can include one module of blockchain and Web3 technology, which is a great, great, great thing. And it's not only limited to crypto. The applications are very, 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 important, possible, and you will see it becoming mainstream. Like the banking, the way we bank, it will change the way we have other applications. It will change altogether, not only from tech perspective but business perspective also. Business models will change.
Yeah. So we have seen like a lot of startups are coming up with these technologies, be it Web3 or NFTs, and they are trying to create their own metaverse. So what we call as metaverse, like every company is coming up with something and they're calling it as metaverse. So do you think that these startups, they are going to take lead in this technology? And with respect to that, like how the things would be, like if I talk about India being the Web3 capital, so is the, like, does the statement seem good to you in the coming future, or how the things are going to be?
Why not? Why not? Why not? And it should be. It should be. As an Indian, I'll be the more, like, most happiest person, right, if that happens. And we are. I think we are going towards right direction. People know India because of the technology. We have done a lot of service or IT consulting work for the world, and Web3 is good. It's a great leap of faith. It's a great, uh, you know. Uh, I would say, domain to be in, and it's very forward-looking, very futuristic. So this is the reason people are adopting things very quickly, and we have young force, we have young talent, we have a lot of colleges, institution. They work very closely with corporate industry, and they follow trends, etc. So I see this definitely happening, and this can be a, great chance for people in tier 3, tier 4, sort of colleges. They can literally, kind of upskill themselves, or scale up, and literally, make sure that the CV is looking good, they have interest with right sort of technologies. There are technologies which are in demand, so that will happen for sure. And at Hike, right, I know we are, and it's still, so it's very challenging to hire. Still, it's very challenging to hire great software engineers for Android, iOS, backend, AI, ML, all sort of technologies I'm talking about. Really good, sharp talent. And this new thing, the competition will be very stiff now. So, but at Hike, we are looking for Solidity developers, blockchain developers. We are a Web3 company. We are one of the very few and finest Web3 companies, from the from India.
Yeah. So as you know that my audience is someone who are into college or who are just passing out of college. So summers are coming and it's something that we call it as internship season for them. So it's very important for them
Mhm.
to like they have this thing in mind, like they're going for an internship with an expectation of a pre-placement offer, so that they are
Yeah.
relieved of sitting into those campus interviews, and like that's the situation that they don't want to get into. So how do you
Yeah.
think, or how should one plan out his internship journey so that he should be like, there should be a guarantee that he'll be getting a pre-placement offer?
Okay. It's a very opportunistic question, but I would say, right? Okay, this is what I have seen, right? It's a very, I don't know whether a lot of academics will like this or not, this particular statement, but I've seen this trend, like, people start taking internship after first semester. They are engaging themselves, because I've seen, like, people doing their colleges, universities, from home only. It's like the way we are doing work from home.
Yeah.
So it's not limited to summer internship anymore. People are engaging in live projects. People are, contributing in terms of weekend projects also.
Yeah.
So I think you should work on your profile building. That's very important. So first step is to focus on your academics. Make sure, theoretically, each and everything. Book is very important still. You get all the gyan from the books and the professors only. And but you should not limit yourself to that. That's the first stage, first step. Second is to get involved in live projects, weekend projects. Attend, there are so many meetups, Web3 meetups, mobile meetups, etc. In even in smaller cities, I've seen, right?
Yeah.
Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, Pune, to hota hi hai, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you should get exposure and learning from these sort of things. And then YouTube is full of great, learning tutorial. There are open source courses, etc. So make sure that you are scaling up, and then you crack a great opportunity, and you do literally, honestly, you work very hard there. Learn things, be very true to the company, to the mentor. Don't think that I'm here for just 2 months or 3 months. Give your best there. Be very honest, and definitely you'll get PPO. And yeah, thoda smartness ye hoga ki you have to do due diligence whether this particular company, what's the past record of giving PPO.
Mm-hmm.
uh, you can validate from your seniors, you can validate from other sources, etc. If there is a company, they keep, they do give PPOs, etc. So the a probability of applying should be very high, and focus or inner drive to get that particular summer internship should be very high. It should not be the case like you intern for 2-3 months and then company will say, hey, we do not have that policy of PPOs, etc.
Also, like that's pretty true that you mentioned about all the things that we should be true to the company, show diligence and all. uh, there's a thing that have come up in recent past that is known as personal branding. Like we were not aware of this term when we were in college, if I talk about, but now I have seen this personal branding thing is something that can get you different opportunities, that can help you network with people. So how would you say see this personal branding for students as beneficial, or how can they like make their name as a brand, or how can that fetch them good opportunities?
Yeah, I would say rather than personal branding, it should be right branding. It should be, you should be aware uh, what's happening around. You should be aware about the ecosystem and the competition in that particular ecosystem wherein you are operating. And you should work on profile building. And profile building is again, there are many aspects related to it. A great CV, a great portfolio, or a website. If you are a tech guy, you should have your own website. It takes 1 or 2 thousand rupees to register a domain,
Mhm.
and you should have a great, very creative portfolio. Uh, you should be participating in all these, competition of like competitive programming competitions, or you should be regular to these websites wherein you can compete, and do competitive coding, etc. So, and then, live projects I told you. So holistically, you should see, like, I'm aware, and then you should attend events, etc. And people will start, to recognize you, or to, you'll be famous enough to be hired, right? uh, it's as simple as, like, it's as simple as that.
Okay.
You have to literally work hard to make sure that you are doing right things for yourself, you are gaining right skills, and you're visible, right? It's just like you're visible. Twitter, like Web3 talent is on Reddit, is on Twitter, right?
Mhm.
You do not see a lot of things happening on LinkedIn when it comes to
Mhm.
Web3 talent.
Yeah.
You go to Twitter, it's full of Web3, it's full of crypto, NFTs. People are talking about, kids are talking. Someone was telling me, a guy, he's just 12, and he has bought some NFTs, etc., making money. And when I was 12, I hardly knew about anything.
True,
So
true, true.
times have changed, and new generation, is very aggressive, very opportunistic, very honest to, things they want to pursue.
True.
So yeah, that's it. Be visible, that's important.
True, true, true. Definitely in every field, being visible, showing what you are doing, representing in front of somebody is that might be helpful in some cases. Coming to a very, very interesting question, like today I am asking you questions, but it's like you might be asking questions to a lot of people in some of the rounds, some of the interview rounds. So those daunting questions, when I talk about an HR interview or a hiring manager discussion, which you talk about, in which we like not in which in general these type of questions are taken into picture, like what are your weaknesses, what are your strengths. Well, some of the questions might be tricky for someone who is coming out of campus. So how to handle those HR questions, or what would you be your advice? Like should a person be completely true to himself when while answering those questions, or what it should be sugar coated or something? So what is your perspective on an HR interview?
So I would say, when it comes to startup ecosystem, I think HR interviews are very cool interviews. I at least at Hike, we, I exactly, I don't know what do you mean by the HR interviews, or, hiring manager interviews, etc. Because all the companies have different sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But in general, let me tell you, we do cultural fitment round, and it's very, very, very important, because this is a round wherein we get to know each other. There should be great chemistry. There should be some cultural, alignment. The vision should be same. All those things. So it's generally discussion. It should be an honest. It should not be. It's not like elimination round. It can be other way around also. Like a candidate can say, "Hey, I want to work with a bank only, right? I want to work in fintech domain, and so maybe I'll not be happy, working in a company which is in education tech, or which is in ed tech, or HR tech." So it's sort of an honest, a discussion wherein, because if you are culturally aligned, if you are, the checklist you have in terms of compensation, growth aspects, this that, your aspirations, etc. If that's matching, then it's a beautiful match, and then you grow, then you literally grow. And practice, like general questions, right? And I've heard, like, when I was very young, I am, in like, it's been years, but I've also asked question like, where do you see yourself 5 years down the line? Those serious stereotypes sort of questions. But yeah, generally, like, when you apply for service based companies, these big companies, they have templates, etc., in general.
Mm-hmm.
And you should practice, and these templates, etc., they are very much available on internet. Search karo, role play karo, practice interviews, be confident, your communication should be clear.
Yeah.
And when I say communication, I mean literal communication, not language. And wherever English is required, you should work on English also. because in tech it's required, because you work with lot many people from different states, culture, nationals, continents. So yeah, it's like that, practice, practice, and practice.
Yeah, true.
And watch videos like this, Arsh Goyal's channels, that people get to know more about what happens in a particular interview, or what's going on in an interviewer's mind when that person is evaluating a fresher.
Thank you so much, sir. Coming on to one of the very important questions nowadays, what is happening is most of the companies are going remote, right? They have this thing known as work from anywhere. People have this liberty that they can go to their families, they can work from there, they can go to vacations, they can work from there, they can go to hill stations or beaches or anywhere they like. They are free to work from there. And so like this has changed the this hiring scenario a lot. Like if your employer is forcing you to come to office, so you're looking out for options for a company that is having this policy of work from anywhere. So and like we have seen a lot of good companies, very like the companies which are some of the role models for some of the new startups. So what do you think is going to be the future? Like, would this be adopted universally, or how this is going to be?
See, one thing is very clear, like even you talk about startups, or even the multinational companies, they are okay for hybrid model. When I say hybrid, like 60% you can work from home, or roasters, or 50-60% come to office. They are shutting down small locations, and there should be collab spaces, etc. That's given. And but there are companies like Hike, our company, we are by default remote. So people literally appreciate. Let me tell you, we have people working from 62 cities in India.
Great.
And I have a team member in my team, and he told me that before, I'm celebrating my birthday with my parents after 10 years. Uh, because after 12th, he came out of hometown, and he was in Delhi, and engineering, and then MBA, and then job, and etc. And he was very happy. So it's a good use case from employee perspective, but from employer perspective also, like from a TA team or a TA standpoint, talent acquisition standpoint, it's very opportunistic. It's very good, because now I'm able to hire people from any city, any location in the country, right? Provided you are in IST time zone, or you are ready to work in IST time zone, we are happy to have you on board. And this is what a lot of great startups are doing. And uh, productivity wise, it's good. We call it as work life harmony. Your work life harmony is better. And yes, provided the company, from the company perspective, you have right infrastructure, right technology infrastructure, right setup, right, you, even the minute things like your furniture and all that stuff. So uh, we have literally worked hard to make sure that what it takes to be a productive, very productive, high. I have seen people working from Rishikesh, I've seen people working from Goa, and other great things. But at the same time, what we do, like we every quarter we do our planning and retros, etc., or all hands, wherein we invite each and every person to 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 a resort, or to a great property, wherein people are collaborating. We call it as work week. People are doing collaboration, people are getting they get to know each other, they're spending good times, which is very important from human perspective, human point of view. So it's a great mix, and we are very happy, people appreciate it. And we have seen big companies like GitLab. Someone was telling me Canva is also fully remote, and there are enough examples. And so it's going good, and I see a lot of merit. I see a lot of merit.
Great. Yeah, so this remote work or something known as freelancing is also something that people are pursuing, and that's also totally remote. So maybe either the future is that, or maybe the future is work from anywhere. Coming upon to our concluding questions, I would say, talking about with the onset of pandemic, so the things have literally changed. Now companies who are visiting campuses, they are visiting campuses, but they have come up with some challenges that are open to all, right? They have, I would say, they have now access to a greater talent pool, sitting from one place, rather than they don't have to visit some remote areas, or they don't have to visit the colleges in which they were not able to visit. So they have opened up these challenges that are open to everyone in India, and they are like kind of selecting the best people, right? Even if somebody is there from a tier 2, tier 3 college, and he has done some exceptional things, he's a very good developer, he has like very good competitive programming profiles and so on, so he would definitely ace in such rounds and might get hired into some of the companies that like his entire college might have not dreamt of. So how do you think have these opportunities changed, or is this something that is good for employer as well as for employee? So what's your say on
Yeah,
this?
yeah, absolutely. It's a it's a very good win-win situation. So even if there are the companies are in big cities like Delhi, Bangalore, Mumbai, and if you have to travel to colleges in Andhra Pradesh, in Punjab, in Jammu, and other states, uh, big cities, tier one, tier two cities, they have great infrastructure, good hotels, good connectivity, this that. So if you until unless you have a very large number of target to hire or to fill, right? Let's say if you want to hire 500, 2000, 10,000 people, then definitely then you'll go left, right, center. But if you just want to hire 10, 20, 30 people, a typical startup scenario, less than 50 people, less than 100 people in a year. So you will not go to a lot of colleges. You'll focus on pool. You'll focus on couple of colleges. You'll focus on private in great A plus private universities with a lot of intake, uh, and uh, and that's it. So this has been the case so far. But now it's remote, right? I can send my HackerRank test or HackerRank test or Codility test to each and every student, right? I'm least bothered about the location, and I feel so happy for that guy, who's in whatever city, writing my test, applying to Hike or applying to any great startup. uh, it's good. And if you're caliber, if you have caliber, you can you're not limited to certain service companies visiting your campus and hiring people in lot and giving packages which are very standard. uh, and just because it's not your fault, right? It's not your fault. It should education should have nothing to do with location or placements, etc. So it's a good thing. It's a great opportunity, and people should encash it. Like I must say, people in tier 3, tier 4 cities and colleges should literally work hard. Should do a lot of research on internet, and should find out opportunities and apply online. And not only, it's not confined to India. It's confined to. I was talking to someone, and that person was saying that they want to hire 100 engineers in India, uh, and other like 100 engineers across the world, and they want to hire most of the engineers from India. It's like tech talent is good. Compare if you would compare US salaries and India salaries, it's good, and they're happy to have remote people. I'm talking
Mm.
about a US based startup. So it's good. It's good for everyone, right? And it's not a freelancer. It's not a stint based or a gig based thing. It's a full time job. And yeah, and you have growth. You have policies. You have entire ecosystem around you. That's important.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. This has opened doors for those who are looking forward to such opportunities. Majorly, the lack of awareness is what I would say they are
Mm.
having. So that's why they're not able to get into these companies, or these they're not knowing about these opportunities. So probably that gap has like been closed in the past 2 years. So thank you so much, Vibhor, for sparing your time, for sharing your views, for sharing your viewpoints. I believe this would be very helpful for people who have been watching this. Also, if you're looking forward to apply to any of these opportunities at Hike, so there is something that is flashing on the screen, that is work.hike.in. You can go and check it out. Any of the things, any of the opportunities that you believe you are interested in, or you have those skills, so definitely go ahead and apply for them as well. Thank you so much, Vibhor, once again for coming in, for
Great,
spending.
great. Thank you so much for having me.
I hope this video was really very insightful on what all things you need to know from the point of view of recruiter while applying for different companies. Thank you so much for all the love and support that you people have been showing. See you in some other video. Till then, all the best. Good luck. Bye.